Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So in Hunger, Hope, and Healing, we have recently been talking quite a bit about the part of us that goes into over-functioning. Over-functioning is like we do things beyond our own scope. We do things more for other people than we do for ourselves. We pick up the slack. We're very reliable. We might have high levels of competence in a number of areas, or we see that there's a need and we reflexively go to that need. In a family system, we might be the one who's really relied upon to organize or to sort of scaffold the structure of the family or the family responsibilities. We do all of that and then some. We may also do this in our friendships and with our parents, with our children, even our adult children, in our work settings. So this part of us that is the over-functioner, we like to say it was initially a healthy adaptation to whatever your earliest care-providing environment was. We did not all develop over-functioners, but for those of us who have this part that is inclined to over-function, we can look back and see that it was a healthy adaptation at the time that we developed the superpower skills of over-functioning. We have other options in early life too. We are shaped by that earliest environment. And so for some of us, we learn to be more timid or to hold back. We don't go for things that we want to step into. We might, in fact, hold ourselves back, but subconsciously. We might have an inner self-saboteur, for example. But today I want to focus on this over-functioning. And again, anything that got developed as a part of you and the earliest phase of your life was an adaptation, usually a skillful adaptation on behalf of surviving the environment that you were in by creating ways that you could maintain harmony, reduce conflict, get your needs met, tend to the needs of others because somebody else may not have been doing that. And for example, a lot of times an over-functioning adult was a parent as a child instead of being a child as a child. Or an over-functioning grown version of us, we had to learn how to do things that were beyond the life stage that we were a part of because somebody else wasn't doing it. Or we sensed we might have had a high level of sensitivity, so we could sense the sort of brewing conflict or tension, and we learned how to function in ways that would abate that, might appease that. It could distract that. So we might have functioned in a way to kind of get that energy coming towards us because we may have been the one who could kind of stand up to that energy, or we could have appeased it and tried to abate it in other ways too. So all of that being said, your over-functioner needs some yoga. And so in a yoga practice, what we do is we really try to quiet the mind so that we can actually hear ourselves. The mind that we're quieting is the habitual mind, the Ferris wheel mind, the ceiling fan mind. We're quieting the habit mind to come back to the wise mind. We also want to tend to our hearts for what can happen when you've been over-functioning, so that at some point you begin to have symptoms of resentment or fatigue or anger, or you feel really depleted. You might go into a mode of like, why me? Why is it all up to me? And yet much earlier in life, we didn't even ask the question. It was kind of like, it's up to us. We're going to step in. That's what's required. But this symptomology that can come of, why me? Why is it all up to me? And feeling resentful or frustrated or trying to put boundaries in place that other people don't then agree to. Those symptoms, there's one of my kittens. She's behind me in the drawer. So those symptoms are actually healthy symptoms because it's coming from the place in us that wants to transform, that wants to outgrow this particular pattern. Right? So as we tend to our hearts and those emotions, we want to also be very forgiving towards ourselves for how we had to adapt. We had to create an internal structure to suit the environment, and then we went forward from there. So let's take a comfortable seat, find your place. Rest your hands in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes. Yes, there's a There is a kitten behind me in the drawer, and she's currently scratching in the drawer, so I hope you're not getting a scratching sound. So rest your hands in your lap and find your upright seat. And begin to breathe in and breathe out. And as you're breathing in, imagine that you're kind of dropping down from your head and even down past your heart into your pelvis. And you're kind of saying hi. You're just saying like, hey there, I am with you. And you could imagine saying that to all of your parts, but especially this morning, let's imagine that you're saying that good morning, hi, to the part of you that has overfunctioned and that needs to kind of pull back on the throttle a bit. And let these parts know that you appreciate them and you're here to be a source of nourishment and support. So there's different ways we can practice quieting the mind. And one of those uses the concept of circulation and innervation. So as you're resting right now in this seat, on your inhale, squeeze your hands into fists. On the exhale, spread your fingers out. Inhale, squeeze. Again, inhale, squeeze. Exhale, stretch out your hands. And do that one more time. Inhale to squeeze. And exhale, stretch your fingers out. Now let your hands rest on your knees. And drop your mind into your hands, noticing that they're going to get a little bit warmer. And you might feel your heartbeat in your hands. Let's say that you were in a meeting and your hands were under the desk. You could actually do that practice to help reorient yourself. You could even imagine it's a little practice to say, I shall not overfunction right now. I do not need to overfunction right now. Now, a little more dynamic, what you're going to do is, even from sitting now, take the arms out to the side. On the inhale, squeeze your hands into fists. Exhale, spread your fingers. Inhale, squeeze your hands. Exhale, spread the fingers out. This time, inhale, squeeze your hands into fists and raise up part way, maybe to the shoulders. Exhale, spread your fingers, lower back down toward the sides of your torso. Squeeze your hands into fists. Inhale, raise up above your shoulders. Exhale, spread your fingers, lower your hands down, somewhere near the sides of the torso. Squeeze your hands into fists. Inhale, raise up higher yet again. And exhale, spread your fingers and come down alongside your torso. And now once more, squeeze your hands into fists. Inhale, raise up all the way. And exhale, spread your fingers, come out to the side, come down slowly, and then drop your hands onto your knees. And again, notice the circulation going to your hands, the innervation. Drop your mind into your hands to feel the inner pulsation. Your circulation, it's also your life force. You could say it that way. So anytime we get the circulation to return to our hands and feet, which is from the core of the body back out to the periphery, we're actually encouraging the nervous system to make a shift. And it's going from a sympathetic overdrive down to a parasympathetic hum. So come up to standing. So those are two just very simple things that you could do. Like you could do that first one under the desk, if you're in a meeting. You could do it at the movie theater. You can do it if you're on a plane. You can do it on a train. As we say, green eggs and ham. You can do it near or far. You can do it in a car. You can do it on a boat or over a moat. You can carry that with you. The second one you can also do, it's not as discreet because you are raising your arms, but you could do it, for example, while the tea kettle's boiling in your kitchen. You could do it while you're waiting for a phone call to come in. You can do it standing, you can do it sitting. But come up to stand now and make your stand so that your feet are a little wider than hip distance. And we're going to use the fists when we go back with the inhale and the fingers when we come forward with the exhale. And it is kind of brisk. So it's going to be a brisk inhale in and a brisk exhale out. And you can switch which wrist is on top from time to time, like this. Five, four, three, two, one. Let the arms swing until they get still on their own. And take a deep breath in through your nose, lower belly, mid-torso, upper chest. And then exhale like you're sighing. Release the breath out. Notice the tingle in your body. This kind of effervescence, like sparkling water. Okay, bend your knees. This is called horse stance, like you're riding a horse. Fists behind, fingers open in front. Let's do it again. Five, four, three, two, one. Let the arms swing until they're still. This time again, deep breath, lower belly, mid-torso, upper chest. Hold the breath for a few moments. And then exhale and bend your knees, cascade down over your thighs, and come into a standing forward bend. Now your head is lower than your heart. It's a good time to connect back into your inner parts, particularly the parts of you associated with over-functioning. And those might be parts that learned to acquiesce or to appease. They might be parts that learn to kind of abate circumstances, either around you or within you. Or there are parts that learn to be very competent and got well reinforced for that competence. And then at times your competence gets exploited. Your overfunctioner is going to include the part of you that learned to forego your own needs on behalf of others. So as you connect to these inner parts, give them a warm welcome and let them know that you're here to kind of recalibrate the system. And then raise your hands up to your hips and rise up to standing. And as you come up, take a little wider stance. So this time, we're going to turn the toes out, bend your knees a little bit. So it's a wider kind of horse stance. It's not the deepest stance you could do, but try to put your knees over your heels and then drop the tailbone down so your pelvis is really stable. Okay, what we're going to do here is a practice in Hunger, Hope, and Healing. We call it to say yes. So when we do the exhale, it's a strong push through the hand, and the opposite arm is going to pull back like a fist. So it's like this kind of gesture, and yet you're doing it side to side. It's a strong exhale, a strong burst of exhale out through the nose. The inhale comes, but you're not making a big inhale, right? So think about no, 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 no. You're saying no so that you can say yes to yourself. Okay, like this. Five, four, three, two, one. Come to center now. Inhale, raise up. Make the feet parallel, and exhale, come down again like a cascade. Release over the tops of your thighs. Relax the weight of your head. It's encouraged to bend your knees. Release your head. You may rock your head a little bit side to side or relax your hair. And notice how your breath comes down into your pelvis in whatever way that happens. Does the breath get to go a little deeper into the pelvis? How much welcome is your pelvis offering to the breath? Remember, you can reassure the parts of you that learn to overfunction that you're going to be crafting a new kind of set of clear boundaries, a new set of, let's say, working principles. You're also going to be slowing down the reflex to overfunction, putting some reflection in there instead. Raise your hands to your hips, rise up to standing. So when we say we're going to slow down the reflex to overfunction, it's the reflex to do that which is familiar. Those are reflexes that are neurological. We want to slow down the reflex and increase our ability to reflect. We come from reflection versus from reflexes. That's R-E-F-L-E-X versus R-E-F-L-E-C-T, reflect. Okay, now take a little wider stance. Place your hands on your knees and come down. This is called the jazz dance warm-up pose. So drop into your hips, root your tailbone. Stretch out from the inner thighs to your inner knees. Straighten your arms. It's okay for the shoulders to shrug up towards your ears. Allow the breath to be smooth, and to the extent possible, let your pelvis welcome your inhalation. Part of how we keep going when we're over-functioning or over-adapting, one of the ways we keep going is that we disconnect from the body. And particularly we disconnect from pelvis, lower belly, that which is like below the navel. Sometimes we also disconnect from the solar plexus down. We disconnect from our hearts down or from the throat down. But frequently we have this repository of unmet needs down in the pelvis and the inner belly. So having had the breath come down like that, let's now exhale, rise up to standing. Now we have our widest stance with the feet. Let's make them parallel. Energize your legs. And this time come forward purposely, hinge from your hips and come down. Touch the floor or a couple of yoga blocks for your fingers. And as you now keep the legs strong, on your inhale, glide your spine and your heart forward. Make it a smooth inhalation. And then exhale and bow towards your legs. Again, inhale, glide. whatever length your inhale is, move with that pace so you're synchronizing. Exhale to bow over your legs. Complete your exhalation with the tone of the inner belly. Inhale, glide forward. And once more, exhale to bow towards your legs. Appreciate your inner parts. This is kind of a pose where we get to connect inwardly. In yoga, we call this an inward and downward pose. Let's keep the legs engaged and toned, and your breath is smooth. But otherwise, allow your mind to be really still. And then once again, walk your hands up to your hips, root down from your hips to your heel, rise up to standing. And then we're going to go heels in, toes in, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. When you come to mountain pose, let's just say good morning to each other. So that's about 20 minutes of yoga that you were just doing there. Considering that I spoke for a bit at the beginning of the class, maybe it was 15 minutes of yoga. So if you can find 15 minutes to just do that particular set, that can help you so much to get reconnected to your inner parts, the over-functioning inner parts, before you go about the day making decisions and reinforcing patterns that are reflexive versus the cultivation of skills and patterns that will be reflective. So, just that much of yoga can be effective. But let's take it to the next step here. So there's a practice that I really like where we use the inhale briskly again, like we were doing before. So something like, and then we have an exhale. But we use this in a standing sequence. And we're stepping back into the crescent lunge, which is a part of the sun salutation. And then we step forward with purpose. We have this kind of like, I'm taking my stance, I'm finding my place. So the way that looks here, let me find my best angle for you guys. Yeah, something like this. So we're going to be stepping back. When we step back, the arms will go up overhead with the fingers open. When we step forward, it's going to be two fists to step forward. So bend your knees. And then with your inhale, you step back with one foot. Let's do the left foot like this. Okay, so that's a big breath, and you've taken it, and the fingers are spread wide. And then we step forward like this. Okay, and that has this in music, it's a downbeat. You're arriving and you're standing in yourself. I was talking about this particular practice a few days ago, and I said, it's kind of like you're pouting, when you need to pout about something. And I was a very good pouter as a child, but pouting was a way for me to be cute and to hold in my energy, because I usually got the affection of my parents, the teasing of my parents when I was pouting. So it had this kind of, I'm just going to suppress things, but I'm doing it in a cute sort of way. And yet I was really suppressing things that I should have been expressing. So in this case, when you step forward, whatever relevance this has for you, like I'm taking a stand, I'm going to be here for myself, my needs matter, whatever that is for you, let that be important. So step to the front, bend your knees. Here we go. Twice more. Breathe in, exhale, breathe in, exhale, and then stand. really still. It's okay to keep the eyes open or close your eyes, whichever is more helpful for you. Watch your body. It has an activation right now from the breath and the movement. But notice all of that becoming more rhythmic. It's going to start abating and abating. It becomes like an echo. And it will fade. We can sometimes use yoga practice versus, let's say, food or over-functioning to abate discomfort in the body. Watching that go, it's probably still on its way out, this activation. Let's take that now into a portion of the sun salutation. I'm going to suggest that you reach for 2 blocks. Place them at the front of your yoga mat. There you go. Bring your hands to your heart. Lift up through the crown of your skull. And then as you inhale, press your palms down, turn them forward, raise up and look up. And exhale, come down to Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, take your left toes straight back, kind of in the position that you were just using. Root down into your right heel here and keep the outer right hip strong. And then inhale, rise up. This is called the crescent lunge. We're going to stay for several breath cycles. So as you rise up, keep the top of your right thigh strong, but also the back side of the right thigh. So you are using your glutes and your hamstrings. Root your tailbone down, lift the pubic bone up. And inhale one more time. And follow your exhale. Sweep the arms wide. Come over your right leg. Touch the 2 blocks. Inhale, step your left foot forward. With the exhale, bow towards your legs and connect again to the inner parts of you that are watching you do this yoga practice. And in some ways, your overfunctioner is going to feel relieved. But in other ways, it might feel kind of apprehensive, like, wait a minute, I've been here for a long time. What is she going to do without me? You can tell this overfunctioner, you're not getting rid of the inner competency or spunk. You're not getting rid of what is valuable. You're just asking it to pull back a little bit. So we're reducing the ways in which it gets exploited. With your next inhale, raise your chest and heart forward. Come up to your fingertips on your blocks. And then bend the knees, take your right toes back. Again, this is your crescent lunge base. Press down through your left heel. Use your outer left hip for strength. Inhale, raise your arm. And give your mind a chance to have a kind of equanimity or quietude. Let's keep the front leg strong, but also use your back leg. So even in a physical yoga pose, we want to be thoughtful not to exploit certain parts of the body. Like the front leg is not overly responsible in this particular pose. With your exhale, sweep your arms wide, come over your left leg, reach for the 2 blocks, and then inhale, step your right foot forward. And exhale to bow towards your legs, reminding the inner parts of you that are
entwined in this overfunctioning pattern, remind them that you're creating a healthy change for the whole inner community. Nobody's being fired from their job. Take a deep breath in. Exhale completely. And then inhale, sweep your arms wide. Rise up. Lift your heart, look up. And exhale, bring your hands down to your heart. And close your eyes. And in mountain pose, we'll keep the hands at the heart for right now. In this mountain pose, let's bask in appreciation for yourself. In your earliest life, you figured out some strategies. And in many ways, those strategies and adaptations have benefited the structure of your life. And in some ways, it's caused our lives to go out of balance. We're making a recalibration, and that is very courageous. Go ahead and release your hands. So earlier in the wide leg forward bend, I was saying that some poses, we call them kind of downward and inward poses. It's really helpful to know how to go downward and inward, how to come forward and upward also. And so we're going to take that crescent lunge that you were just doing and add another pose in the sequence. So crescent is upwards and outwards. And the next pose is called Parsvottanasana. It'll be downward and inward. So take a stance again at the top of your mat. And the palms together. And with a sense of the purposeful nature of this morning's practice, inhale your hands down, turn your palms forward, raise up. Okay, so that's an upward and outward action. Exhale, come downward and inward. Inhale, glide forward, open your chest, your heart, your throat. Exhale, take your left toes back again to the base of your crescent lunge. Inhale, rise up. Okay, so this pose is upwards and outwards, right? Press into your right heel, press into your left toes. Energize your base, and then reach upwards. If you can, look up, widen the hands apart. This has a quality of like aspiration or willingness. Maybe you could think of it like courage. Whatever is needed today, may I have the courage to do that on behalf of healing. And then exhale. Now come forward. Let's make the arms wide like an airplane. Touch the two blocks. And using your blocks on whatever height you need them to be. Straighten your right leg slowly. And press your left heel back and down. You can turn it slightly sideways to bring your left heel down to the floor. So this one is downward and inward. Of course, you may not have very flexible hamstrings, and that is okay. You could bring the blocks in closer. You could make them taller. You could use a chair. And as you come downward and inward, think of this kind of pose as one where you're greeting your inner parts again and just reassuring them that the wisest part of you, your wise self, is going to step in to help this recalibration in your life. Now, keeping your back heel grounded, start bending your right knee. You may feel your left calf muscle back there. And keep your fingertips on your blocks. Press firmly into your back heel so you've got a sense of like, where is the taproot of strength or confidence in your body right now? As you bend your right knee, slide your right thigh forward from the hip socket towards your knee joint. Press down to your right heel. And then rise up. This is called Virabhadrasana 1. So it's different than the crescent we were doing because we changed the angle of the back foot. So keep your taproot really strong. That is currently your left leg and your left heel. And then once more, exhale, come forward. Touch the blocks and let's step the back foot. Lift your heel first, then step your left foot forward. Take as many steps as you need to come back into Uttanasana. And inhale, glide your heart forward. We're going to do the other side. So bend both knees, take the right toes back. Root down into your left heel and your right toes, and then rise up into your crescent. So in this case, crescent has the back heel lifted, which means it's easier to square the hips to face forward. Might be harder for your balance because you have the toes of the back foot, but not the entire foot. Don't sink any lower than your body has the strength for. It's not about how deep down we can go. This is an upward and outward pose. Open your arms, lift your gaze. And then keeping your back leg strong, exhale like an airplane, come forward. We're going to touch the two blocks. And then as you straighten your front leg, you can pivot the back heel down to the floor. Turn it a little bit sideways. And you can walk your hands back to the place where they're most supportive of your pose. It is also okay, of course, to raise the blocks up taller. As you press firmly into your back foot, you want to have a sense that the heel gets grounded and that you can maintain that sense of grounding as you raise up with your torso. Go ahead and put your fingertips on your blocks again. So that makes your torso higher, and then bend your left knee really slowly. You might find that your right calf or heel are giving you signals. And keeping your left heel grounded. Let's raise back up. Now it's going to be called Virabhadrasana 1. And that's because we changed the angle of the back leg, right? And so you might feel the sensations in a different place. Notice what it's like to have a new, let's say a new foundation, a different orientation. It might feel like a little bit uncomfortable, and that is probably going to happen as you also recalibrate the foundation of your life. And then with your exhale, sweep your arms wide, keep the back leg really strong, know where your taproot is, touch the two blocks, and then step forward any number of footsteps you need. Return to Uttanasana. This is a downward and inward pose. Press into both feet. As you next inhale, sweep your arms wide, rise upwards. And then exhale your hands to your heart. And again, stand in mountain pose with your hands just kindly coming together at the heart. And let's come down to the floor. So something to know about how you developed your reflexes much earlier in life is that all of your senses were involved. All of your senses were involved. That means that you heard changes in people's voice tones, you saw changes in facial affect, you saw people interacting with each other, you felt something like in the skin of your body,
a sense. You may not have been able to explain it to somebody else if you were asked, but you had a sense of things. So we're going to do a strange kind of shavasana where we use a blanket to quiet the senses. So open a blanket like this. Lay it on the floor. Fold it in half twice. Give a blanket like this. And then place that near to where your head is going to be. Okay, you don't need your blocks, but you could use them if you want to, if they're so beloved to you. Lie on your back. As you lie down, then you're going to take, this is kind of funny, so go with me. You're going to take this blanket and place it over your eyes and your ears like this. And then snug the blanket around your ears. Just turn the palms face up. And let all of your senses go inward. So you're right now tending to no one else, nor anything else outside of yourself. As you're resting, tell all of your senses they can also rest. You could say, for example, to the eyes, nothing to do, nothing to undo, not right now seeking, not right now avoiding, nothing to want, nothing missing. Allow your eyes to simply rest. Let's bring that message also to the nose, the sense organ for smell. So nothing to do, nothing to undo. Not right now seeking. Not right now avoiding. Nothing to want. Nothing missing. You give permission for the eyes and the nose to simply rest. And bring awareness to your tongue. Allow the muscle of the tongue to deeply relax. And so to the eyes and the nose, and now the tongue, we say nothing to do, nothing to undo. Not right now seeking. Not right now avoiding. Nothing to want. And nothing missing. So to the eyes, the nose, the tongue, now we're going to include the ears. Nothing to do, nothing to undo. Not right now seeking, not right now avoiding. Allow your eyes and your nose, your tongue and your ears to simply rest, to deeply rest. And then check in with the fifth sense organ, which is the skin of the body. And this largest organ in the body. We're going to say here also, nothing to do, nothing to undo. Not right now seeking, and not right now avoiding. Nothing to want, and nothing missing. For your eyes, your nose, your tongue, your ears, your skin, let all five senses be deeply relaxed. Allow your mind to be deeply quiet as all five senses go inward to rest. And begin to lightly wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bend your knees. Reach up to your blanket. First, open it for the ears. And then lift the blanket from your eyes and place it behind you. And you can blink your eyes open. Okay. Roll to your side. And as you're ready to, please come up to sitting. You can sit in a chair, you can sit on a physio ball, you can sit on a blanket or a block. The opposite of green eggs in hand. You can sit here or there, you can sit near or far, you can sit in a boat, in a car. When you come up to sitting, return your hands to your lap. Close your eyes. And connect to the wisest self in you, that wise inner self that knows. You really do want to recalibrate this inner community so that the parts of you get to be more harmonious with each other and also with your life stage and your life purpose. Now, this wisest self, we say in yoga, it can be represented by the sixth chakra, the place from where we see clearly. We have a kind of clear perception of things. And keep the forehead smooth and relax the place right between your eyebrows. You can listen to this particular chant, just like let it come in. What it means is, may we know that which is true from that which is not true. May we know the real from the unreal. May we be in alignment with reality, not confused. May we know that which brings darkness relative to that which brings luminosity, that which causes us to go kind of backwards, that which promotes us to be in our vitality or our light. May we know the finite from the infinite. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Raise your hands to your heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. You can make an internal request of your parts May they relax into your leadership today. May they have some confidence in your inner counsel. May you also take time today to reassure those parts that you're seeking the highest possible healing. Yes, on behalf of your whole self. And it is intentionally aimed at also nourishing all of your relationships and your responsibilities. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Now, of course, if you appreciate the class and at any point along the way you had questions, you can always put those questions below the video. And it's also helpful if you do leave a comment, even of appreciation, that helps us to know how students are experiencing the class. And I would be remiss not to say for you to like the YouTube channel and subscribe also. I would be remiss not to say that even though I'm not compelled by those sorts of things, it's helpful because it gives other people awareness that the videos exist out there in the larger sphere of yoga. So thank you once again.